Alright guys, so today we're going to be looking at some JavaScript, and what I have right here is just a version of Tetris written in JavaScript. And I wrote this so that way we can take a look at some obfuscation techniques that JavaScript developers might use, so that way other people may not be able to read their code that easily. Sometimes malware developers will obfuscate their JavaScript so some antivirus programs won't pick it up, things like that. So we're going to take a look at some of that today. So we've got JavaScript right here, and I've got the code for it written in Atom, which is just basically your standard version of JavaScript. But if we take a look at the source code, we'll see something interesting. Oh, didn't do that right. All right, so here we got the source code, and we'll see a main.js file. This is going to be the JavaScript file that is running this, and we'll see something way different here. But it's doing the same thing that this would do. Now, how does that happen? So what I've done here is I've obfuscated the JavaScript code so that way people can't read it. Now, there are ways to deobfuscate code, and we'll look at that too. But let's take a look and see exactly what's happening. Now, we've got two different types of obfuscation here. We've got packed, which is basically when we pack JavaScript. And we've also got minified. So minified, we'll see all this JavaScript on one line, and it makes people have to scroll through like this. Now, of course, you can copy it, and you can put it in a new file, and we can see it like that. But it's still kind of hard to read. Now, you might have seen this before if you've ever clicked on Facebook's JavaScript or YouTube or any big site, because they're always going to obfuscate their code. And usually they'll use way more complicated versions than this. They may actually write their own obfuscation algorithm, so that way you can't just use some type of online tool. So the only thing we do to obfuscate JavaScript in simple terms is we can take our code, copy, and then we can find some type of online JavaScript obfuscator. You basically just put your code here, pack, and you'll see it come out like this. There's a couple important things to know. If you're packing JavaScript with this algorithm and a lot of other packing algorithms, you do have to terminate each and every statement with a semicolon, and that includes your function calls as well. So when you're defining a function, we also need to end that in a semicolon. That's not hard to do, especially if you already code with good coding practices. If not, you can just run through your code at the end and just throw a bunch of semicolons in. And then after that, you'll be able to use this code, which is basically exactly what we have here. Now, if you want to deobfuscate code, a lot of the times you might be using curl, or you might already be in the terminal. So there is JS Beautifier. Now I've got my SSH up for my Linux server right here. So what we can do is just, I'm already in a directory where I've saved this packed script as js.txt. So what I'll do is I will just js beautify js.txt, and we can either send that over to a file, but I'll actually just show it in the console here, and we'll see we actually get the JavaScript that we put in. Now, just to kind of show that this is not just what main.js consists of, we'll edit right here and we can see the packed version. So that's just a little bit about obfuscation and deobfuscation I wanted to share. Now, most companies or most hackers or anybody who doesn't want antivirus to show that the JavaScript is doing something malicious are going to develop their own obfuscation algorithm. So you may not be able to just use JS Beautify to pop it open like this. You can always use it to unminify it and put it into different point of view to where it's not all on one line. But the main important thing is if they're using their own algorithm, you will have to reverse that algorithm. You won't be able to just read it. So that's just something to keep in mind in the real world and not in just these hack the box challenges or other types of capture the flag techniques. You might be able to easily get away with just using something like this, but you'll probably have to break out a pen and paper or really think about it if you're in the real world trying to actually do this kind of stuff. So Let me know if you got any questions. Leave them in the comments. Let me know what ideas you guys have for any kind of things you want to see. I think I'll be doing a burp suite video next week just to show some proxying and stuff like that. So, peace.